Station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal. I'm joined by Brad Anderson, director of Worldbreaker. It's cool to have you here.
Yeah, good to be here.
So, for people not aware yet, could you give them an idea of what Worldbreaker's about?
It's sort of a post-apocalyptic drama about a world that's sort of gotten overrun by some creatures, monsters, if you will. And it's really the story about a father and his daughter and how he's trying to sort of protect her from the horrors of the world. And they escape to a little island off the coast in order to kind of get away from all the madness that's going down. And it's about him sort of training her and getting her ready for the battles ahead, so it's a bit of a coming of age story too, but it's set in this sort of strange world, where a broken world, I guess you could say, where things have just sort of gone crazy, and these creatures have kind of emerged from below, and they're kind of ravaging humankind. And so it has a little bit of a little bit of The Last of Us in it, a bit of it's a bit of a survival story combined with a monster movie.
Yeah. And since it primarily, there's other people in the movie, but it is most of
Yeah,
the movie that the two characters. So
right.
you have Luke Evans and Billy Blay. Uh,
Hmm.
like, did you know right away, like they had chemistry together? Like, how did they get like cast?
Well, Luke, we cast him. We made an offer to Luke. I've seen him in a bunch of things. He's a great actor. Really, he's very versatile. Can play so many different kinds of roles. He hadn't played a lot of father figures before, so for him, I think that was what was interesting about it to a certain degree. So getting him was for us great, because really fit the bill for this character. And Billy Boulay, who is a young actress out of London, we cast around a big, large net to sort of find an actress to play his daughter. We looked at many people, but she was just far and beyond the most charming and spunky, and they hit it off. The two of them, the two actors hit it off. So it's like, when you have that chemistry, you got something you got to hold on to. So yeah, it was just a process of casting a wide net and ultimately finding the right person for the role. It's not easy casting. She's meant to play like a 15-year-old girl, but at the same time, you want someone who has the maturity to do actually practically do the movie that we needed to do. So it wasn't, but she rose to the occasion and was great.
Yeah. And let everyone know it's currently in theaters and will be on VOD February 20th, which I always recommend seeing in the theater. I always think that's the best way to see any movie. And have you had the experience of watching it with an audience yet?
Early on, we did some screenings, for as you do to sort of see what's working, what's not working. So, yeah, and I think that the thing that works, I think, best in the movie is really that relationship at its core,
Yeah.
surrounded by all the kind of um, the scary stuff. But if you don't really connect with or have or care much about the characters that are in this predicament, then the movie wouldn't work. But I think we were lucky in getting, as you said, like these two actors who really felt like they were real, and you empathize with them and want them to survive and want her to thrive and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, they're great together, and I think like the best horror movies are about the actual people, not necessarily the monsters.
I think so. Yeah, you got to have a little bit of both, right? You want good
Yeah.
monsters, but you got to have good people too.
So how about the is it like I assume it's a real island that you shoot on? Where did you find it?
Well, a big island, Ireland, shot in Northern Ireland in Belfast. So all the landscapes there are, it's what it is in the movie, just old ancient moors and cragged cliffs crashing down to the ocean and very rugged, kind of beautiful but stark landscapes. That's what we were looking for this island. A place that felt like you could exist out there, but it wasn't going to be easy. Um, and Ireland, I mean, Northern Ireland, Ireland in particular has that in spades. So it was a great place to shoot. It's also very rainy and gloomy and dark, and windswept. So it's not an easy place to shoot. In the winter is when we shot, but it kind of adds to the gritty kind of nature of their struggle out there, I think.
I mentioned monsters, so it is still about monsters. And one of the things I really liked about the movies too is like just creating like a new myth. We've seen like lots of
Yeah.
vampires and werewolves and
Right.
all these things. So you create something new, and there's a lot of the mythology of the monsters and the world that they're living in.
Yeah, well, that was in Josh Rollins' script. The movie is really a story about the power of storytelling in a way,
Mhm.
and mythologizing and parables and the lore of good stories. And in
Yeah, and the
this case,
importance of like carrying them down, like in a world where it's like
yeah,
they're not all written down.
yeah, I think that's kind of it. It's a little bit of a throwback, this idea that, like, in our movie, there's these stories of this mythological or sort of legendary character, kind of like a Hercules type character who is sort of this great epic warrior fighting the monsters, and the stories of his exploits are kind of passed from one generation to the next. That's kind of the conceit in the story. Even though it's not set in ancient times, it's sort of, we're using that sort of idea of storytelling as a way to bring people together. And in the story, the father tells his daughter these stories in order to give her hope, in order to inspire her to continue the fight. And I thought that's what I really loved about it as well. And but you're right, we had to create like a kind of, all that was just sort of, you know Josh's imagination and us filling it in with this world that had its rules and had its history to it. So it's a bit of a world building show, if you will, as well. And I hadn't really done a movie like that before, per se, like that was creating this sort of world like this, let alone monsters.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like a departure, but a good one. I loved that. That's why I was interested in doing it, just because it hadn't done something like that before. And that's a lot of fun, like creating the world of these monsters, these creatures. Where do they come from? What do they look like? It was all just, uh, you know, that was our job, right? To sort of find a something that felt, you know, vaguely new or fresh. Like, we've seen a million monsters in a million movies, but trying to do something that felt a little different, creating the story or the mythology behind these monsters that felt kind of new as well. And yeah, that was just to ground it, to make the story feel like it's has a sense of place and time. It's not just using old tropes from other movies and
Yeah.
other stories, just trying to create something somewhat
I
new.
thought an interesting part for me, and I don't want to spoil the movie at all, is when the Billy's character comes like is questioning the story in a way, like is the mythology dead? Is maybe it's not true, and that's kind of like when you
Yeah.
are at a certain age, and also the idea of like kind of keeping your faith or your hope in the world.
Yeah, there is always that time, and I, having a couple kids myself who are older now, but I do remember that moment when they start to question all the stories. Is it real? Is the truth very real? And I think, like, that's why, there's always that anguish moment as a parent where you want to, keep the fantasy alive a little bit, keep their imagination alive, but at the same time, you also realize that they have to at some point come to terms with reality. Not all the stories
Right.
you
Or
told
maybe,
them are real.
the message of the story is more important than
Yeah,
the story
man. Right,
itself.
exactly. And I think that's sort of where we find Billy, or Willa's character, in this story. She's kind of at that cusp of a girl becoming a woman, and dad, her father, has to kind of like, has to help her through that. And I think we kind of kept that idea of what is real and what is a parable, what kind of a little bit blurred in the story. Because in the end, someone returns to the story in order to kind of like continue the battle, and it's not who you might think it is. So that was part of keeping that suspense alive.
Yeah, also along those lines, a theme in the movie is kind of like role reversals, where like the man's raising the daughter and the woman's, out
Yeah.
fighting, but not that neither one's not like a fighter or anything.
Yeah, well, that was also, again, creating this world in which, for, just the idea being that these creatures, if you're infected by them, or scratched, or somehow like bitten by them, you don't turn into you can either, it'll either like turn you into some sort of mutant, or you can potentially sort of lose your ability to fight. So all the men who have been fighting in our story are kind of like the male warrior has been sort of decimated. So women have had to take up the sword and take up the axe and the gun to fight these creatures. So it's really it's a female warrior story. And Milla Jovovich, who plays the mother in the story, is sort of the leader, the commander of this force of women who are out there battling the monsters. And I just thought that was also part of Josh's story, which I thought was really interesting. You hadn't seen as much of that. And yeah, and as you said, like a father raising a daughter, like I think that's also kind of a cool premise. It's a little bit of The Last of Us, but it's something that's, more fresh in a way.
Yeah. And you said you never did a movie like this before, especially with like monsters, and you've done like so many different genres of film. Like, what interested you in this particular movie?
Well, I think part of it was that doing a kind of genre that I hadn't really done before, something that's a bit scopier, that has creature effects. But I think it was ultimately was, as we talked about before, the core relationship at the center of it that I found really compelling and sort of moving, and uh, as a parent, it just connected with me. I got caught up in the will and father relationship in this story. And it's also just in the end, there's a darkness in the story. The world's, potentially on the cusp of ending, but at the same time, there's a glimmer of hope in it. It ends with a hopeful beat, which is always welcome in my mind. It's not totally dark and depressing.
Kind of along those lines. It's the real rise in horror. I mean, horror has always been like popular, but I think the last few years it's been more popular, especially like in the theater.
Yeah, it
Uh,
has. Yeah.
do you think that's a reason for it, or what do you think the reason is?
What do you mean the reason for it?
The world that we live in currently
Oh,
is
it's horrific.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because there's the argument that when the actual world is so dark and bleak that, like, you go and you watch a musical or something, it's escapism in the theaters. But I think people are also interested in seeing versions of what the world could become. Whether it's descending into a civil war, or whether it's a movie about zombies taking over, or the zombie apocalypse, or whatever the various version of the end of the world scenario is, a giant asteroid crashing into the planet. I mean, we're always fascinated by our own demise in a way as a species, like how we're going to end, how it's all going to end. I think that's always been like of interest to us, those kinds of stories. But the horror that I've seen, and there's been, as you said, like a lot of good stuff recently, it's not always that. Sometimes it's more psychological horror, or just more sort of intimate kind of horror. um and I don't know, I think why is horror, I mean, horror's always been trendy, right? But it's just, there's more people doing it now. Maybe there's more outlets for people to see specialty kind of stuff, or more boutiquey kind of horror than there was before. Like, it's not just all Friday the 13th or Halloween type stories. They're like really smart, good, unique kind of horror movies out there. Um, and I think I mean, I like the genre myself. So I'm finding it kind of cool. But I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know if it's a reflection of the times, or if it's just a reflection of how the industry's changed to a certain degree. The way we watch movies has changed.
And
And
someone
people.
I go to the theater a lot, and it's a little off topic, but well, on topic of this is I think it's a genre that
Go ahead.
that
Yeah.
people will go see in the theater. That it doesn't. It can be like a low but people like low budget horror. They don't necessarily like a lower budget, drama.
Yeah, because low budget horror is something you can also do horror. You don't need a lot to if you know what you're doing and you have the right toolkit, you can scare people with not a lot of resources, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but I think, yeah, I mean, going to see a scary movie in the theater is far better than sitting at home alone, I think,
Yeah, yeah.
because you're
You can interact
reacting.
with the audience. Yeah. Same
Yeah,
with
that's
the
what's fun
comedy.
about it, and it I like that's and like comedy's the same way, I mean, I think you can
Yeah,
sit
without
alone.
being annoying. Like if you were doing that during Schindler's List or something, people be like, "Get the hell out of here."
Yeah,
But
yeah. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, horror is best appreciated with an audience. And I think you're right, rather than just watching it alone on your phone on the subway or something silly like that.
so shooting it on the island, like how physical was that for the actors and for yourself and the crew? Filming a movie like out in the wild.
It was a trying, complicated shoot because of the elements, that we were, and also as wasn't the budget wasn't huge, and the time we had to shoot wasn't much. It was, kind of used to that as an indie filmmaker myself, but so there were a lot of like just practical challenges that we, had to kind of devise ways to overcome. But I think in some ways like that is par for the course for the way I've made movies. They're always like a challenge. And that kind of makes you sort of put on your thinking cap and come up with good solutions and creative ways to make it work. But this one was particularly hard just because of that. It was cold, it was windy, it was, just the exterior part of it was tricky. And but I don't know, I think if it's too easy, you never really, kind of push yourself to try to do something good. You just coast. So it's always good to have a little bit of struggle and
I
anything that
think it
you're.
comes through in the movie. Like
Yeah.
they're really there. They're not like in front of a green screen or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, my God, I dread the days when, people are predicting soon AI will make actually going on location obsolete, which, I'm sure producers and people look at that as a bonus. Like, oh, great. We don't have to fly all the way to Belfast to make this movie. We can shoot it on a soundstage or have AI create all the backgrounds and and the worlds around these characters. But as actors, as directors, you put yourself in a real location on the edge of a cliff and the wind's blowing in your face, and it's like it informs the performance, it informs the stakes, of the scene. It's not like you're just sitting there in a comfortable soundstage. I think being on location is critical, not for everything, but for a movie where you want to immerse yourself in the environment. I think it's important, and I can't imagine it going away, but I don't know, maybe.
So Worldbreaker in theaters now, VOD at the end of the month, and since this is the station of decapitation, there may be some cool decapitations in
Oh
the
yeah,
movie.
right. It's
Yeah,
appropriate, yes.
yeah. Well, thank you for coming on. I actually really dug the movie, and not just because you're here, so I'd like people to go check it out.
Yeah, cool, nice talking to you.
Yeah, you as well. Thanks.
Okay.
Hey, why am I so little here? Hey, what's up? This is Nasty Neal here at the station of decapitation. And that was cool. We get to talk to Brad Anderson, director of Worldbreaker, also the director of Session 9, and the director of The Machinist. This is a big time guy to have on the show. So I want to address something here over on. So we're live. We live stream this show on many different places. It's on X. It's on Instagram. It's on Facebook, my personal Facebook, the Facebook page, Kicks, Twitch, everywhere. I can only see the comments on certain locations. It does help if you all go over to the YouTube page. It's the easiest way to interact, and I can see your interviews, your questions the best. What a good interview. Thank you. I appreciate that, homie. Hit the like button, please, and subscribe. So our normal show's live every Thursday with me, Troy, Tara Hutchinson, and cousin AJ. And so homie here in the chat was talking about the Monster series on Netflix, the serial killer show. And so I was asking him about like who you'd want to see next. I say show, but it's a series, so each season is its own serial killer. And so homie's like Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. So a friend of the show is actually doing a Night Stalker feature film, and I think he may have already finished it. So I think that'll be coming out really soon. And next month we are going to be we do a theme show every month. We did a clown show. We just did a vampire show for Valentine's Day. And so next month we are going to be doing a serial killer show. So serial killers. Next month, we're going to talk about our favorite serial killer movies and trivia and what serial killers would win in fights. That'll be a good show. I know TLC made one of him with actor Lou Diamond Phillips, which he played a good Richard Ramirez, but I think the Netflix can pull off a better one, or at least a version of it. Yeah, I think so too. That's I could see that one being in the works. And like I said, our friend Chad Farron is just finished his Richard Ramirez movie. And from what I understand, it's gonna be pretty graphic. Got you a like and subscription from homie. Thank you. Appreciate that. Heck yeah, I can't wait to watch. Now that I'm subscribed, I'll be watching every time you're live. Thanks. Like I said, so every Thursday's the main show. The Thursday show's usually very, very long. And then I'll just pop up once in a while and do a live show like tonight. Magic Dave in the chat. What's up? Trump or Kamala? We're trying to leave politics off of the horror show here. I'm sure you guys get enough of that everywhere else. So I've got some trailers here lined up. So if you ever would like your independent horror trailer to play on the show, you can hit me up on the social media pages. Without your head, you can follow me on X, Facebook, Instagram, or you can email withoutyourhead@gmail.com. All right. So let's see here. We are going to play some trailers here. All right. Not a politician. Well, I mean, it is Paul. I didn't mean like you are an actual politician, but I mean, it is a political question. All right, here we go. We're going to start off with Vampires of the Velvet Lounge, which I'm actually going to be interviewing some of the stars of this week. If I keep electricity, because we're going to have a big storm tonight and tomorrow, so hopefully everything's all right. Have you ever interviewed Robert Meyer Burnett? He used to work at Warner Brothers. He's done special features on the Superman Return movies and his own podcast as well. I've not, but that's an interesting guess. Maybe I'll look into that. So first up, we have Vampires of the Velvet. All right.
Turns out the government tracks a lot of data, and it's.
Let's remove that while it's playing stupid ads. But Vampires of the Velvet Lounge. We're going to be interviewing, I believe, the main star and Mina from American Beauty. So that's going to be pretty sweet. That's trailer dope. How did this one get off my radar? Yeah, it's coming out soon. It's I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, we're going to have some of the people on. We may actually even have Steven Dorff on the show. So look in the near future. All right, next up is Sharks versus Mermaids. I think this is a much different film. And like I said, if you guys, anyone out there, you're an independent filmmaker, you'd like us to show them on the show, hit me up and we'll film. I've not watched this trailer yet. I have no idea. All right. Mermaid's looking pretty cool.
You're still thinking about
I agree, man.
They never found her. Not a trace. You don't just go missing like that.
You know, this
There was
already looks
something
better than I
out
expected, I'll be honest.
But you can't remember how it happened, can you?
You're lucky to be alive.
You got a
Most people
hammerhead
don't even
shark
survive the
man.
bite, and the ones that do, they don't stay human for long.
All right, I'm sold.
You was bitten by something else. You will transform into a beast.
This is more serious. Just watch the sea.
Why? Shark attacks?
Is something wrong with me?
You belong to the sea.
Listen, sharks versus mermaids.
If you resist, the curse will pull you back.
All right, sharks versus mermaids. I am sold. I am sold on this. Sharks versus mermaids. You know, going in, I was like, sharks versus mermaids. I really expected like a sci-fi original kind of looking movie. And I'm not saying this looks like it's, The Godfather or something, but it looked very entertaining. So I am in. And the effects and makeup, the costumes were a lot cooler than I was expecting. All right, next up is Jitters. And another one I don't know anything about. Jitters.
Sam, you've seen your fair share of bad things. What's going on?
It's going to be the next big thing. It's called Jitters. Yellow.
Jitters.
I'm always
So
down to clown.
Interactive, linguistic, ontological, narrow AI.
We
When
got a
did you
killer
last
clown
see-
movie, but does not look like a
Standing next to
typical
you right
killer
now.
clown movie.
You don't think this evil clown thing's a little played out? 53.6% of people in your demographic are scared of clowns.
All right, I'm into this. Almost looks like Brainiac and clown.
Everyone was so afraid that AI would become conscious, but the alternative is so much worse.
I don't know. I don't know exactly what's going on here, but it looks cool, and I like that it doesn't. It's showing a lot of like stuff, but you don't really know what this movie's about.
I can't beg emptiness for mercy.
Sam, this beast is real.
Jitters, all right. You know what? Again, I had no idea what to expect, but I am in. Jitters, the clown, looks really cool. Again, really good makeup. Now, I really don't have much of an idea of what this movie's about, besides it's a clown. There was like some references of AI in the movie. I don't know. We'll find out. We've got another creature feature coming up, and that is Yeti. And Yeti, for people that don't know, I actually wrote a short Yeti film that we hope to film soon. And so let's check this out. I'm sure the Yeti looks a lot better than he's going to in mine. The Yeti. We see lots of Bigfoot movies, not too many Yeti movies.
Sorry. Did I wake you?
This just in.
We're officially declaring them missing.
He's putting together a rescue team.
Watchdog, Dr. Radio Demolition.
All right, I like the vibe of this.
Save his daddy and yours too.
1947. All right, I'm in.
I can't wrap my head
A
around
period
it.
piece about
Magnetic
Yeti.
poles can be blamed for all sorts of things. Monsters, myths, signs from the gods.
The boat had no choice but to leave us.
Nobody knows where we are.
We're fixing to die out here. We stay any longer. That's enough. You hear that?
This beast been around since for the birth of Christ.
20,000 years of primal evolution.
Again, this is a better looking movie than I expected by the title. I expected very cheesy movie, which I'm not against.
Who is
but
that?
This looks well made.
Oh, shit. Everybody away from the window.
I like all the text in the very old. The Yeti! All right! Yeah, I'm with Tony here. I'd watch Yeti, definitely. The Yeti. All right, I am totally in so far. I would watch all of these movies. And look, if you send me your trailer, I'm not going to say, oh, man, it looks like shit. But so far, all these look really good. All right. And I'm not just saying that because you guys were nice enough to send me your film trailers, but these look fun. All right. The next one has me worried. I'll be honest. Bambi the Reckoning. Bambi the Reckoning. Now, there's people know out there, there's just a new trend. You get the old IPs that are now public domain. Let's make a horror movie out of them. Some people are against the idea entirely. I am not. I just wish that all of them were better. Now, I've seen a couple that I really liked. The Death of Snow White actually was one of my favorite movies last year. And we've all seen some really bad ones, like the Winnie the Pooh one. But here we go. Bambi the Reckoning. Let's check it out. Forget your childhood. This is Bambi with a vengeance. Damn.
Which one?
A pretty badass Bambi from the Demented. That's not good. That's not good. From the Demented Minds behind Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. That's not high endorsement. This looks much better, I will say. Much higher production value. The Bambi creature looks good. It's definitely a well-made trailer. The music, the scores, very off-putting. Bambi is honestly very creepy. So if this movie's not good, I'm going to give them credit. They made a very cool trailer that has me interested. Bambi, The Reckoning. Ain't nobody. Yeah. Another one I'm sold on, and I might have bet money, not a lot of money, but if I would have bet money, odds would have been likely that I would have thought the trailer would be bad. But Bambi the Reckoning, all right, I'm in. Bambi the Reckoning, another fun looking one. So let's see what I think. I think the next one is also another similar idea. It's IP that's public domain now. Oh yeah. There's been 3 Popeye ones, I believe, that are out, and I've not seen any of them. I need to watch these. This one is Popeye Returns, which I believe is a sequel to one of the Popeye movies from last year.
It all started with a scream. There was nothing that they could do to fix the child's deformity.
Hidden in the rolling hills of England, a special personnel neurostimulant called SPN-X fortifies the body, sharpens the mind, and removes the very concept of fear. With SPN-X, our
what is he,
boys
like
go further,
the soldier serum, kind of like
fight harder,
Captain America,
and stand taller than ever before. So rest easy, Britain. Science marches on, hand in hand, with courage towards certain victory.
Pretty sure Popeye's an American.
We have a code black. All units report to the detention wing.
All right.
You're making him a monster.
I'll be honest.
Become quicker, stronger,
we may have not
smarter.
Might not be batting 100 anymore. Popeye,
I knew it wouldn't be long before his anger brought him back to where it all began.
Oh, well, you know what? Homie's saying Popeye wants to good. I will check these out. they do a remake. They could remake people. Pinocchio. The original story of Pinocchio is very creepy, as is Rumpelstiltskin. Almost all the old fairy tales are very horror in the world of horror. Popeye Returns. Yeah, really sold on this one, but I will still check it out. All right. Next one I've been looking forward to show you guys. This is actually from a friend of mine. He was raising the money for this for a while. It's got a lot of former guests on the show in it. And that is My Blade is Your Salvation. This is the trailer just came out. I'm
the writer director of My Blade is Your Salvation. We're looking to raise a little bit more funds here for the second block of shooting. The film's a love letter to giallo films from the 60s and 70s. In short, it's a slasher film with some investigation that takes place. You have a detective hunting a serial killer, and that's kind of it in a nutshell. We're really excited to bring this to you, and I am so thrilled, especially after seeing what we've shot so far. It's coming along so well, and we just need a little more funds to make it come to life.
1023, we were attempting contact.
Police. Next up here is Body Cam from Shudder, which I believe we actually may have some guests on here too. I think we'll definitely have James Dean on as well for My Blade is Your Salvation.
Everybody okay in there? Police!
This is the police. I'm coming down the stairs. Hey,
Show me your hands. Sir, show me your hands.
We gotta call it in. Give me a second to think, man. You gotta give me a second.
Man, too, man. Wait.
What are we gonna do now? We gotta control this. Think about what'll happen to me. I'm the bad guy.
You found footage phenomenon.
Something doesn't feel right. What is this place?
Oh, this is a lot different than I was expecting it to look.
Still with me? Please clear the road. You took something from us.
What does that mean?
That looks pretty wild too, guys.
Should do that at the house. What is happening here? Michelle!
You think that badge you're wearing makes any sort of difference in a place like this?
I think that's a woman from Barbarian. Oh, shit.
We're cut off, man. They are in control.
Damn. All right. Yeah, we were offered some guests from this, so I'm totally in. Body Cam coming March 13th. I don't know if it's coming to the theaters or right to Shudder. Oh, I think just right to Shudder. Sweet. All right, that looks pretty wild. I like the use of doing something a little different with found footage. It's a combination. I think the idea of a body cam, found footage movie is interesting, and I really just thought it would be like a serial killer or something like that. But we got less satanic cult stuff going on, which I'm a fan of Satan. Well, I'm a fan of movies about Satan, I should say. You know what I'm saying. Next up is also a friend of mine sent this. Tape Me. Check this out. I know he's been working on this for years, so I'm very excited to check out this trailer with all you guys. Blood Pack Films. Oh, we may have another found.
I wanted to get out for the night, all right? You know how this shit makes me feel.
Interesting. Another found footage, also with Gallo kind of feel to it. Got some torture porn going on here.
Follow my rules and prove to me that you are willing to do anything to earn the money you need to save your life. Remember that I am watching you.
Bow, 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 bow. I like the, whoa, that's pretty sick. A lot of cool imagery in this, and a great score on the trailer. You know, and that's interesting. That diary. Sometimes you see that kind of stuff in the movie, and like you could tell they just jotted down a few things. But that damn.
Your victims. All victims. Your victims.
Pre-order yours now. I believe it must be out. We'll have to get my friend on here from Tape Me. Damn, that looks pretty rocking. All right. Looks great. So we'll get the folks on to talk about that. Next up is Here Comes the Milkman. Here comes the milkman.
Hello, Mr. Anderson.
Oh, hey, Herbie. How's the milk business going?
Well, you know, I've been losing customers around here. I don't know why. I guess people just aren't ordering milk anymore.
It is a dying business, milkman business.
Come into your door. Pour yourself a hearty glass and pour yourself some more.
We brought back coal. We need to bring back milkmen.
Milk for dinner too. If you drink milk with every meal, you'll be a strong boy too.
Have a nice day, ma'am.
I'm into this. I'm into the milkman. I've seen Ice Cream Man horror films. I've not seen a milkman horror film. Here Comes the Milkman. It's coming out next month in a couple weeks. So you got to check that out. Here Comes the Milkman. Who doesn't want to see that? Here Comes the Milkman. I believe that our one of the evening. Thanks, guys. Withoutyourhead@gmail.com. Or hit me up on any of the social media pages. So we've got coming up on the show, Lou fucking Ferrigno's coming on. Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk himself, will be on the show. He's going to be talking about his new film, The Hermit, which is, he plays a cannibalistic pig farmer who sells cannibal beef jerky. Tale as old as time. It's really cool, really fun movie. So that's pretty wild. Lou Ferrigno will be on the show. The live guest this week on Thursday will be Bill Wheaton and Frank Sama, I believe, and we're going to be talking about I Heart Horror, which was a festival or convention Saturday that our trailer premiered at, Our Man Funk, and so we're going to have them on, talk about that. That'll be pretty sweet, and who knows who else might come on. We've got it'll be me, Terrible Troy, Tara Hutchinson, Cousin AJ, and our fine folks. You never know who else will pop in. Michael St. Michael's, Kelsey Living Good, Morgan Malam. You never know. Creepy Craig. Excuse me. All right, guys. So I'm just doing a short show because the storm is coming. The storm is coming, and I don't want to be on here in case we lose electricity. That'll be bad times. But I had a good time here talking to Brad Anderson, director of Worldbreaker. So check that out. Get that on VOD. And you know, when you watch these movies, it really helps, especially the lower budget independent films, if you go rate them online, you know, on IMDb, and I forget the name of the site that everyone always tells me that I should join, and I should remember that. So you should do that. When we show these trailers here, you know, seek them out, give them a like, and when they come out, you know, check them out when you can. You know, if they're at the theater, go and see them. If they're on VOD, usually this stuff's only a few bucks to rent. It helps everybody out, and it's a good time. So, yeah, every Thursday night, Without Your Head, right here, we are live. For people who don't know, Arbor Day is our film that we're going to hopefully be launching the campaign very soon and filming later this year. Also, our film, The Once and Future Smash, is out on limited edition Blu-ray, double disc set. It's got a plethora of horror icons in this film. Victor Miller, the author, Friday the 13th, Mark Torgel from The Toxic Avenger, VC Dupree, the man who gets his head punched off in Jason Takes Manhattan, Mark Patton from Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and the list goes on and on. Go get that. It's a double disc set, End Zone 2, and the Once a Future Smash. Our Man Funk trailer will be dropping soon. Hit the like button, subscribe, become a member. Starts only $3 a month. Help support the channel. We appreciate that. If you become a $10 member, you get IMDb credit as a producer. That's pretty great. It helps the show, and that's pretty cool for everybody out there to get producer credit. All right, so next time we will be back this Thursday, maybe sooner if the weather permits. All right, good night, everybody. And stay safe out there if you're on the East Coast like me.
Hi, this is Doug Bradley, Pinhead from the Hellraiser movies, and you are listening to Without Your Head. And you better keep listening to Without Your Head, or you will not only be without your head, you will be without your soul, because I will tear it apart.